Well, next in our series of talks with MHKs, Dr Alex Allinson is joining us, the MHK for Ramsey, one of the two. I always remember you being the first interview you ever did in the season up at Manx Radio that time. Fresh face, fresh ideas, and you come in here with that feeling that you had a plan, I think. I don't know, would you describe that? You were very, very determined on certain things you want to do.
Yeah. Thanks very much for the invitation to come along and have a chat, Paul. Yes, when you're going into a job like MHK, and I remember Laurie Hooper said it was the biggest job interview you'd ever done, you're never quite sure what to expect. But I came into it with quite a clear manifesto and quite a clear idea that, look, I may just get one term to work as an MHK. So how am I going to use that if I get in? It's a means. It's not a means to an end. How am I going to use that position to actually further various things? And so in my manifesto there were various ideas about social equality, about abortion, about drug law reforms, about the way our society works and is created, and trying to feed into that.
And because you're a doctor, it seems to have extra weight. The abortion, the drugs things. This is, you're the doctor. Has that been a plus?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be quite honest. One of the big things about campaigning in an election is that people know you and have an idea what you stand for. And actually, being a doctor, successively studies have shown that we're the most trusted people in society. So I've gone from that to a politician, which I think are below journalists and estate agents.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I've kept that persona, which is great, and I need to live up to it, because that's a huge amount of trust. People sometimes say, "Oh, you're a doctor, therefore you must know what you're talking about." Well, yeah, I need to. I need to if I've got that trust in people. But I think you're right. For me to stand up and talk about abortion, about drug law reform, the fact that I look after people with those problems, the fact that I've been there, that I've performed abortions, the fact that I've been part of that means that I can talk from a degree of authority. But I need to back that up with research, and I need to back that up with integrity as well, because I can't take that for granted. I need to carry on working at it.
Being a doctor, you said initially you were going to continue doing that.
Yeah.
How's that worked out?
I'm still working 2 days a week as a GP. It's been a juggling act, and I did get criticism for that during the election. How can you do 2 jobs? It's hard. It is hard, but there's lots of people out there who'll be watching this who are doing 2 or 3 jobs because they have to make ends meet.
But I think the question is, why are you doing it? I mean, you don't need, presumably, the extra workload. You don't need the cash, presumably, do you? I mean, it's not for that you're doing it.
No. During the campaign, I met lots of constituents who said, look, yes, I'm going to vote for you, but I really like you as a doctor as well. I don't want to lose you for that. And so it's managing people's expectation. I gave a pledge that I would try as much as I could to remain serving the people of Ramsey as a GP, as well as serving them as an MHK. Now, people said I was unrealistic. It is a work in progress. I've taken on a lot of work in Tynwald. It is a bit of a balancing act. I've been in Saturday and Sunday this weekend to Tynwald Chambers, making sure I was up to date with all my emails and things like that.
Can you keep this up, do you think, or will you have to let the doctor bit be put on the back burner?
One of your later questions is going to be about being a minister and things like that.
Yes,
yes.
Maybe.
If if I do get promoted, if I'm spending more and more time in Tynwald, yes, I would have to step down from being a full-time doctor. At the moment, I do Mondays and Fridays at the surgery. My partners, they're at the surgery. My patients have been extremely accommodating for that. But I'm going into this as a politician, and so I need to juggle that as much as I can.
It's ironical, politicians have surgeries, and you're having a surgery. I bet half your patients come in and have a good old moan at the same time, don't they?
But that's fine.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons I stood as a politician was because I like being involved in a local community, and I try not to put barriers up that, right, you can talk to me as Dr Allinson but not MHK Allinson. And so blurring those boundaries has actually made it really interesting. So when I'm going around ShopRite, yes, I do get stopped about what tablets people are on, but I also get stopped about the roads. And it's this whole idea, without saying patronising, about holistic health. One of the reasons I'm interested in politics is because a lot of the illness and disease I see as a doctor is caused by inequalities in society. Now, yes, it may sound trite to say, well, you put society right, people are much healthier, but they are. And so if we can achieve that politically, that actually has major health outcomes as well.
How are you finding it? I mean, this is one of the standard questions I know, but you've had this year.
Yeah.
Was it living up to expectations?
More so. To begin with, I was a bit embarrassed to say I'm actually loving it. But I am. It's been absolutely fascinating and a real honour to get elected and serve people at Ramsey. The scope of the stuff we're dealing with just is fascinating. One of the differences is the amount of reading I've had to do. I do a lot of reading anyway, medical journals and political journals and things like that. But the weight of different reports, papers you need to read, digest, form an opinion of, and then make sure that opinion resonates with your constituents and is the right one, and then actually present that in Tynwald is absolutely fantastic. You
had to make a few interesting decisions. Of course, MUA is your thing. How do you find those sort of sewage prices? And
and again, for me, that's a completely different skill set to be given, because again, chair of the board is different in many ways to minister to a normal politician. You've got to represent views and present them and sell them. So basically get them through Tynwald. And you may have doubts about them, and you may not want to put sewage prices up. Nobody does. But on the other hand, you've got to say, right, long-term financial strategy of the MUA to balance the books, we need to do this. So I have to sell this. I have to be the pantomime villain in Tynwald putting up prices.
How do you find it then? Pantomime villain, yes.
Yeah, but it is.
I mean, like Mr. Perkins the other day having his moment.
Yeah, it is. You're doing something, because again, as a doctor, and I suppose as a normal person, you want to please people, don't you? You want to make them feel better. I'm putting prices up. How do I deal with it? I have to rationalise it. I have to make sure that I know why we're doing it, that it's the right decision to make. It may be unpopular, but it's the right decision. And I need to then sell that to people and say, I know you don't like this, but these are the reasons behind it. And I think in terms of us coming into Parliament, we knew there were going to be difficult decisions to be made. And I'm trying my best not to shirk away from them. Now, if that means I'm not popular, and that means I don't, people don't want to vote for me if I decide to stand again, that's fine. Okay. But I need to be happy that I've presented the right decisions in the right way. I've done my homework, and I can sell an idea or sell a decision.
Okay, let's just do a little bit of a, this might or may not happen, but let's suppose you were Minister of Health at some point, and you had to deal with this prescription charge business. Would you be on board with what they're proposing now, the way they're handling it, or would you have your own ideas?
I'd have my own ideas, but I'd have
put them up.
Actually, the prescription charges that we've got at the moment, I would put them up. They haven't gone up for about 7 years. They're very low. They're nowhere near compensate for the amount of money that the taxpayer is spending. People say free prescriptions. They're not free. Somebody's got to pay for it. The exemptions there in terms of different diseases, I think, are wrong. They're unfair. If you want to have exemptions, have them on medicines. If you need insulin, that's free. Not if you're a diabetic, you get everything free. You could change it around in different ways. The age restrictions are quite arbitrary. Personally, if it was up to me, I'd make prescriptions possibly free up to 25, because we know that the low paid in society and people on minimum wage tend to be those younger people who are struggling.
Would you like health? I'm getting to the minister question now.
Yeah, you're getting to the minister question.
But I mean, it does seem, the more I talk to you, it just seems obviously the perfect fit. I mean, you know all about the other end of this side.
But I'm also aware that just because you're a doctor and you're used to dealing with people doesn't make you the right person to run a department. I personally think that KB Croft's doing a very good job of it in a quite a difficult position in terms of lots of conflicting demands from patients and from physicians and surgeons wanting things, and then other demands from Treasury to say you can't overspend. It's a very, very difficult position to be in. So in answer to the question you haven't asked, which ministry I want?
You've seen these videos, obviously.
I'd have any of them, to be honest with you.
You're hungry for it?
I am.
That's a yes, is it?
Yeah, I'm.
That's good. I mean, it's refreshing to have someone answering questions like that.
If the Chief Minister and Comins think I'm up to being a minister and want to put me in that sort of position of power, of course I'd say yes. I mean, people who say no, but
you have a. I'm giving you the choice. Howard's bringing you in, Mr. Quayle, and he says, "What do you want?"
The thinking head in me would say anything apart from health, because in some ways at the moment you're never going to help satisfy all the people all the time with health. I go wherever they put me. I've ended up a doctor talking about sewage and showing the governor around a sewage plant, but I've read up on it. I've learnt about it. I've learnt as much as I can to do that sort of job. I go, if there was a vacancy, and there aren't any at the moment. And
it's coming. Trust me. And
again, I'm not going to start bitching about ministers, because actually I think they're all doing a very good job. If a vacancy came up there and I got a tap on the shoulder, so, would you mind doing something? The answer would be yes.
Now you've just gone politician on me, because you said everyone's doing a great job. I'm thinking to myself, nah, because we've all talked behind the scenes. Everyone has something they're not happy with the way they're dealing with it. You know, you must see things that you could do better, and not happy with directions.
Again, it's easy to see things from the outside and think, oh, why are you doing that? You could do that. Yes, it's a learning process. What I would say about this administration, in terms of how I found it, the fact that we are working together, that we are bouncing ideas off each other, has been a bit of a revelation to me. Because I'd been to Tynwald, I'd seen it. It seemed very stuffy and archaic and very bureaucratic and regulated. I've just come from Tynwald offices, and I'm talking to 4 or 5 MHKs and MLCs there, and we're just bouncing ideas off of each other. And it's that cooperative working, I think, that hopefully will arrive at the right decisions in the right time and for the right reasons. Because we genuinely, although the honeymoon is well and truly over,
is it?
And it's not a love-in anymore. There is still that want to actually do the right job, I think, and we haven't got what may have been those sort of personality clashes and ego clashes that were there before.
What else you got? Comms Commission, things like that. You got that?
No, that's Department of Home Affairs.
What else you got?
I'm Department of Home Affairs.
Oh, Home Affairs. Okay.
Yeah. So which is the job I asked for. So that's Fire Brigade and also communications part of that.
Yes.
So Tetra radios, emergency services.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So again, there's a good health I'm linking for that. So in the Department of Home Affairs, we've been talking about sentencing. I'm going to be bringing through a sexual offences bill, which is groundbreaking legislation, really important for the island to get that right. We've been talking about minimum pricing of alcohol. We've been talking about drug strategy. We've been talking about drug sentencing. So the huge work there, but also joint control room, which is me. Ambulance, fire, how we bring those together.
Are you busy enough?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And back to the abortion thing, which is huge. Have you been surprised about the pros and cons on this one? No, the different groups.
No. Abortion's a massively controversial subject. What have been really impressed by is the change in the conversation. I mean, this was part of my manifesto, that I thought that 50 years since David Steele brought his bill in, we needed to look at our laws here. I don't think they're right. I've been quite clear about that. Monday night we finished the public consultation. 3,632 people took part in that. Biggest consultation they've ever had. They were worried about the website crashing over the weekends because so many people were taking part of it. So people have become engaged. It started a conversation.
There's been a lot of whipping up, though, hasn't it, of opinions and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Have you been got at all? Have you had anybody really have a go at you? Or has it been kept on a completely professional level?
Most of it has been kept on a completely professional level. I've been criticised by people who are against abortion. I've been criticised by people who are very pro-abortion, saying my proposed bill isn't going far enough. I've had no nastiness from anyone, but I've had to be aware that that's a potential, and I've had to, for instance, tell my children not to open my mail and things like that, just in case, because again, I've got young kids and a wife, and I need to make sure that what I do in politics doesn't then affect them as a family.
Okay, how are you rating yourself on your first year? Can you give yourself a 10?
7.
Oh, a safe 7?
Safe 7. It's a work in progress. The first year, a lot of the time, you're just finding your feet, hopefully not treading water, but finding your feet. This year, I've got to prove myself. This coming year, we've got some major things through the Department of Home Affairs. We've got some major stuff coming through Tynwald, and I've got to make a difference there. Yeah. And possibly, also importantly, can't take my eye off my constituents in Ramsey. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done in Ramsey. We've got to make sure the college hospital is secure. We've got to make sure the dental provision is improved. So I've got a meeting later on today about that with Laurie Hooper. We need to do something in terms of regeneration and make sure that continues. We need to talk about the pier. We need to talk about the marina. There's huge amounts of things going on there as well as down here.
And this first year, Tynwald has been picking still things left over from the last administration.
Absolutely.
So this the EAC's focus is what you can
I think this is now where we as MHKs, as a government, make our mark. For instance, the last budget was basically written already, and so it was our canon to slightly tweak it. This is now, the next generation, new thinking coming in and pushing that forward.
How do you get on with Hal Quayle?
Very well.
You see much of him?
I do actually.
Does he bring you for chit chats?
He does. Genuinely, he quite a few times he will come round when he's got some spare time, come round all the offices, knock on the door and ask us how we're doing. And he's actually been very supportive of some of our, the new MHKs. He supported me and Martin Perkins. He's come in to see us, particularly when Martin was getting quite a lot of online abuse, and came in and gave him a bit of support for that. So he's been very supportive through the whole process, because what he wants is people working together for Team Isle of Man.
Okay, are you going to give him a gold star 10 plus or something?
No.
What are you going to give the government?
I give government 8. I think it's been a good start. A lot of the stuff that they've done so far is clearing the backlog that was left from the last election. Now, this next 12 months, I think we'll get a much better idea of how government works and what its priorities are.
Only leaves me one more question. I think a career politician. You fancy that?
No.
No?
No.
Hang on. You be minister, power corrupts, bloody no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People have asked me this, what do you want to be Chief Minister? Do you want to do that?
Do you want to be Chief Minister?
No. Actually, seeing the amount of time that Howard stays away from the island and from his home and from his family, the amount of travelling he has to do, particularly with Brexit. No, I personally wouldn't want that,
but
to be honest with you.
You stood as an MHK because you felt that the need and the thing, this may happen. I mean, never say never, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say never, but that's not on my game plan.
But you see 4 years from now standing again and... At the moment,
to be true to myself, I need to get in 3 years' time, 3.5 years' time, I need to sit down and say, right, Alex, what have you actually accomplished? For Ramsey, for the island, for yourself, what of your agenda have you done? Now, if I get to it and I've said, actually, that was a bit of poor, I wouldn't stand again. Right. To be honest with you. So am I going into this because I need to be a politician? No, I actually like being a politician. I am getting a buzz out of this. I'm getting a buzz out of Tynwald. I hope I'm doing a good job, but for that I need the feedback from other politicians and, more importantly, the constituents.
And before I finish, I have to tell you, you're very lucky because we have our new delivery of mugs, and we're giving a mug to everyone that's being interviewed. I hope you enjoy that.
Fantastic. Thanks.
And remind you of your time MTTV.
Yeah, that's about as much coffee as I intend to drink at one go, so that's perfect. Thank you very much, Paul.